Hi, welcome to Truth of Tal Isaac. I'm Tal.
I'm Isaac.
Episode number 128 coming at you today. That's a lot. Big NBA playoff preview. I'm covering East. Youngblood's covering the West. We're going to talk a little bit about the number 14 total Lions victories and also total Pistons victories. It's not a great comparison. And we do need to chat a little bit about the Tigers because, you know, they're kind of relevant.
Okay, sure.
Okay, off the top, Isaac is a trog. Moving on, Red Wings playoff
Define
push.
it just briefly one more time. What is a trog?
Oh, troglodyte. Folks, you should just Google troglodyte, and if there's any video clips that come up with it, spend a few minutes and watch it. It's a good deep dive. Just trust us. If you take yourself really seriously, then don't watch it. But if you take yourself too seriously, you're probably not a fan of the show.
Yeah, you shouldn't be here.
Yep. Red Wings playoff push. Man, it was interesting. It was exciting. Obviously, scoring with 3 seconds to go was pretty cool. But, you know, Isaac's buddy called it. Like, what happens if Philly has to pull the goalie and Washington scores an empty netter? That sucks. But they didn't lose because of that. They lost because 6 weeks ago, they couldn't win a game for a month.
Yeah. Then you lose every game in March. Obviously, it's brutal. And look, like the people like celebrating the 3-second goal, like that was electric. But
You only had 5 minutes fun.
it was purely dependent. I think even less. It was purely dependent on the Flyers, right? And they wanted to be a bunch of criminals and lose to Washington. That's fine, even though that game didn't matter, evidently, right? Like it didn't matter for Philly, for the goalie, because the Wings had won, right? So it didn't affect
It did
them.
not matter for Philly. You were right.
The bench didn't know, they didn't care, right? So whatever. But it didn't, like if Philly won, if from my limited understanding, if Philly won and the Wings won, the Wings would have got in, right?
Correct, but Philly needed to win in regular time, not overtime.
But even if they won regulation and the Wings won, they wouldn't have got in,
Philly?
from my understanding. I think so.
They would not have got in, no.
Correct. Yeah, so it didn't matter. Philly
did matter.
fully
Correct.
pulled their goalie to be a bunch of heroes. Actually didn't even matter. Again, probably got all that wrong because I don't know hockey, admittedly.
All we know is Philly, you're going down next year. We're beating the snot out of you.
This is exactly, as soon as it happened, I'm like, oh, this just happened to the Lions last year. We saw all this play out where one game you have to have this outcome, but then you still win your game and it's still a
That's
moral
okay.
victory.
It's tackling fuel.
Yep, not what that is, but it's still a moral victory for the fellas. Just hope Kane stays and they extend. I think Sider and Raymond are up for extension. But yeah, it's talking to my buddies. It's always good when the Wings are good.
Sure. Just touch on real quickly the Zach Edey and Donovan Klingman. Did I say that right? Klingman?
No, I think both were wrong, but just keep going.
Okay. Good matchup. It was a pretty decent tournament. It brought me back to Pat Ewing versus Akeem Olajuwon in 1984. I like when big men bash their crap out of each
Yeah,
other.
Battle of the Titans. Like when there's
Yep.
earthquakes and it's Godzilla versus Kong down low. That's great, right? Klingon they call Kling Kong.
Kling Kong.
Was one of his nicknames. Great stuff, great tournament, March Madness. I didn't write about it, but it's great. It's the best.
Is that going to be a first round pick now?
Yeah, 100%. Like,
Not sure if you know. He's Canadian.
yep, Canadian, and he's going to be on the Canadian national team with Shea and Jamal Murray and Andrew Wiggins if he's there.
No, Andrew Wiggins, don't. We don't want you.
I'll still invite him. That's fine. What else do you have to say?
NFL draft. Like, we're excited about it. It's a week away. Is JJ really going to go in the top 5? Is that possible?
I've been out of touch with draft stuff the past couple weeks. It was kind of March Madness, and now it's just school baseball.
It was a lot of
basketball.
school. It was a lot
hybrid.
of work, a lot of school.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I haven't looked at a mock for a week. Look, I'm rooting for JJ wherever he goes. I just don't want him in the NFC North. Simple as that. Also, all Wolverines fans should.
Yeah, that'd be
have
bad.
that.
We don't want him going to Minnesota.
Yeah, I just don't want to root against him. That's all.
Chicago, we don't want to go because we have to play. But also, if you end up being the Chicago quarterback,
He'll be a convict.
Be convict, but you probably can't walk after a couple of years
Because their offensive line is bad. I think you're insinuating.
because their offensive line
Okay.
is bad.
Yeah.
Their system is bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Bad
what else?
franchise. Road trip, we need to start figuring out, and we want like some fan input. We want to do a road trip that we can drive to and go see an NBA playoff
Well, you want to
game.
drive
I want to drive. Flying sucks.
when they're $80 round trip. It doesn't really suck. Kind of just that's
I
how
guess
I'm at.
We
right?
have to be comfortable with the fact that it's just going to be canceled or delayed or whatever. That's bad.
Okay, he has this. I'll just do this bit now. You have this mindset. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a post 9/11 thing, not to get political or controversial, but like you think 1 out of every 2 flights is delayed. That's probably like you're 50-50.
1 of every 3 is delayed, and 1 of every 10 is canceled.
Yeah, so I think those numbers are just
Those numbers might be a little bit
fake,
off.
fake news. I just look like I'm pro hopping on a flight and going somewhere cool. That's just my mindset. Hopping like New York. Just go to New York, watch some fights in a couple months.
We'll explore options. I mean, the thing with New York is Hotels are expensive.
Not when you're splitting them with 3 dudes and you're just one of them gets the floor and you just make it work. And that's what the cousins and I are going to do. That's happening, by the way.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, what else, Jeff?
The Jonte Porter deal, like the guy from Toronto who like bet on himself to be a loser.
This is what we're talking about.
This is worth talking about.
We don't say much, but this is actually worth talking about.
So for those people that don't know, Michael Porter, the star forward for the Denver Nuggets, his brother, who's kind of poop, but still borderline NBA player. So he's amazing, but he's kind of poop. So he got a little bit of playing time. Toronto had a whole bunch of injuries.
Well,
so he was getting a little more run.
Fake injuries.
Yeah, some fake injuries. Anyway, sorry, Urban. So what would happen is he would say, I'm going to bet $80,000 on myself getting the under on points, rebounds, that kind of stuff. And then after 4 minutes of playing time, he'd say, I re-aggravated my eye injury. I have to sit out. A couple weeks later, same deal. The NFL DraftKings people, or the DraftKings people, is that who it was?
It's all right. Keep
anyway,
going.
draft website
You're
said,
doing good.
hey, this is not a kosher bet, right? $100,000 on an under for a player that gets no run. So they froze the bet, which is pretty interesting. He still pulled himself out after 3 minutes, saying he's injured. And that's when the betting people
Just say betting.
told the NBA people, and Adam Silver and his gang, they were all over it, suspended him. And then basically today, I think the announcement was, today's Wednesday the 17th. He's banned for life.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
People should not be surprised. People that are acting, and look, and I don't like comparing it to the other incident, but people are comparing it to like the Miles Bridges stuff and some of the assault things. This is a completely different thing.
This is integrity of the game, not integrity of people.
Like, you can criticize the lack of punishment for some, like, I think Miles Bridges shouldn't be allowed to touch court in the NBA. That's how I feel. But that's a completely separate thing. That's like a legal thing.
Yep.
Like court of law stuff, different than the betting thing, where the betting thing is kind of more subjective up to the commissioner, whereas the assault stuff is up to like the jury.
So here's a question. If he was a real rotational NBA player, like his brother, would the same penalty have happened?
Banned for life. You have to set a precedent.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so I wasn't shocked.
I agree with you that should have happened, but I can't say with 100% certainty that they would have
Adam
done.
Silver, foot down. We saw him suspend Jaw for a quarter of the year, and everyone was like, whoa, this is way too much. Whoever this would have been, like, if it was LeBron, it would have got covered up. If it was Jokic just would have fled the country. Like, there's a few anomalies. But I think if this is a good, like, a average star-ish NBA all-star guy, I think he gets banned for life because...
What if it was Doran Anzelin betting on the NBA? Is that allowed?
Is he in the NBA in this hypothetical
He's not.
scenario?
He could be. Like, he'd be a great bench guy.
Yeah, TJ McConnell.
Oh, for sure.
Like, actually in the NBA, TJ... Like Doran could give you those minutes.
He could give you those minutes, especially last night. He can probably shoot better than McConnell.
Yeah, Doran's my guy. Doran, we play Thursday. Shout out Doran. I'll see you soon, man.
What's up, Doran?
Yeah, so the whole betting thing, look, it was the right punishment. I'm not shocked. People were like, this is too big, like, too much. No, it's not. Because if you do anything lesser than this, you're still going to have guys betting on basketball. This is super, like, now guys are going to be so spooked in all leagues, but especially in the NBA, to touch anything bet-wise.
Also, people shouldn't be surprised that it's happening because betting is all over in your face all the time. It's going to happen more.
Yeah, look, here's
people
the thing.
Get running with the wrong crowd.
Yeah, the Otani thing we don't need to go into again. But yeah, look, like Jonte Porter, you set the precedent. Banned for life. It's done. Everyone's spooked. He also bet on the Raptors to lose in those games.
Oh, we saw some type of parlay. Oh,
well, that just got. I don't know if it doesn't matter. It just came out today, but like
didn't get as much run. I hope this actually gets more run.
Well, it's at an interesting time. I don't think the NBA wants it to get a lot of run, and that's why they announced it at this point. Because you're right in the thick of
We're talking about it here on the podcast, and we're the number one sports podcast in Windsor, Essex County.
Yeah, Southwestern Ontario. So that's going to
get a lot of... Southwestern Ontario?
Yeah.
Wow, I haven't seen the latest stats.
Yep, as of today. I made it up.
Nice.
Yep. Do you have anything else off the top? I think that's enough on the Porter thing. No, you got anything
off the top?
People are curious about the Porter thing. I have a couple off the tops.
Go nuts.
Wismer horse show stuff. So, like, Matt Wismer, my guy.
Yeah, I couldn't go. Sorry, Wiz.
So, Wiz was on the show. He's our college ball expert. Wiz, my guy. Very smart, very just a good, upstanding citizen guy. You like Wiz, right?
I like Wiz. He's one of us.
Good, because he'll be listening and he'll text me. So, Wiz, he's like horse royalty. I can't really explain it, and I don't know if I can get into details. But apparently, it's like Yellowstone, which is this big horse show with Kevin Costner.
I know of the show, and I know of Kevin Costner. I can't say I've ever watched it.
I don't know. All I know is like Wiz is
anyway. Wiz and his family are horse royalty, and they did like
prince.
some invited like the royal family here to Amherstburg last Sunday.
Yeah, so there's some horse thing, and that's kind of out of my element. The rural horse
Were
environment.
Harry and Meghan invited? That's a little controversial.
No, they are.
Yeah, you do the red-haired one.
Whatever. So Wiz has this awesome horse thing, and he shows me around and just like mentors me because horse stuff is very different from my walk of life. So I learned a lot, asked some dumb questions, asked some good ones. So I just had to shout that out because that was great stuff.
Yeah, I did a little bit of dressage when I was younger.
Yeah, I don't even know.
For our horse fans, they're going to know what that word means.
So
Steve and Nathan Attridge know what that means.
Okay. Exams almost done. All those, good job. Keep going.
Yeah, he's doing good on the exams.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, we haven't even got them.
Yeah, but because you're super negative.
No, not
before
negative.
The exam, they're like, "Oh my God, it's communist. I'm going to get 25%." And then what happens is, I got 87 on the exam and ended up with 91 final.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those are all facts right there.
Facts.
So respect.
But also, I'm going to get 25%, and that's going to drop my mark to 70. Well, you currently have 92, and it's only worth 25% of your final.
Okay. When I've got class averages in the 50s, then I'm just going to automatically shift my mindset to be like, oh, this exam's going to be really bad. Or when I look at historical evidence, meaning one of my buddies texts me and says like, hey, I had this exam last year, everyone cranked it. So we don't need to talk more about exams. I'm doing good. Just keep plugging, guys.
Okay,
let's talk about the NBA playoffs right now. It's a good time.
You want to roll through the East first?
Yeah, go ahead. Because you'll need a minute to get going.
So here's the thing. I'm going to give you a few people or a few teams that there's a lot of pressure on them and they really need to have impact.
Okay, so can I butt in? We didn't talk about this. I prepared a list of 7 names and figures that I think have the most pressure on them.
East or West?
League-wide.
Oh, well, that's interesting. We didn't talk about either. Well, then I can
So we'll just go for a bit.
Add your list to mine, and we're just going to throw in Ant and Kawhi.
Well, Ant doesn't have pressure, but that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so
go. We'll just do
pressure.
We'll just do pressure. This is not
Pressure.
predictions yet. This is just talking about guys who have pressure.
Joel Embiid is perhaps the most... I'll say he's the second most talented player on the planet because I think Jokic has more talent. But Embiid has not proved himself in the playoffs ever.
Yeah, you're saying it like he's 32, but yeah.
No, well, he's probably 28 or 29. He's got the knees of a 35-year-old or 45-year-old.
Okay.
A lot of pressure on him. Lots of pressure on Milwaukee, specifically Dame. They gave up a lot for him, and the results so far have been poop. They fired their coach, Budenholzer, last year. Then they fired Adrian Griffin, is that his name?
Good job.
When he was 30-13. They hired Doc Rivers, who a year ago everybody thought was a poop coach, and they thought we're going to bring in Doc to become help us become a defensive team. So they dropped from the 19th worst defensive team in the league, I think, to 16th worst. So
These are good.
a lot of pressure on them.
Sorry, is this all made up or is it actual?
No, this is real stats.
This is great stuff.
Yeah, this is good material.
Yep.
Halliburton, he was the man the first half of the season, and he hurt his hamstring, and he's kind of been poop since then. So a lot of pressure on Halliburton to determine if he's a star. I feel a little bit bad for Cleveland. I know you're a Cleveland fan, but D. Mitch, again, he was in the MVP conversation, and I don't know if he's checked out or injured or what, but tons of pressure on him to obviously prove themselves. I'm just going to say collectively, there's so much pressure on Boston, and if I'm a Celtics fan, like all the Allsops, I'm going to worry about Tatum's 4 for 17 games.
I look forward to these 4 for 17
Yeah, so
games.
do I, but if I'm like Uncle Phil, I feel bad for you because you know the 4 for 17 games are coming.
Okay, so that was a lot there. I'm just going to quickly chime in. So Dame, agree, tons of pressure on old man Dame. We'll talk about him a little later. We'll do a minute on each series, surely. Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Surely. Okay. So Dame,
Don't call me Shirley.
lots of pressure on Dame. They gave up so, like you talked about, you spelled it well. Embiid, less pressure just because he has the injury asterisk, even though he's been back for a bit now and he's looked really, really good. I agree.
Really good's a bit of a stretch. He's looked good coming off of a knee surgery.
It's like 35 and 6. Like he's doing 30 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. It's something along. It's maybe I made those up, but like he's doing really good.
Okay.
Halliburton, I disagree. I don't think there's a lot of pressure on Halliburton. This Indiana team has already overperformed. He already was an all-star starter, and he's 22, 21. Like he's a very young guy. So not a ton of pressure on Hallie. I don't think yet. Next year, again, we'll have this talk. But like as of right now, he's still too young for me. Is that fair?
It's fair.
Okay. Next year, different story. D. Mitch. So that's an interesting one. I don't know. Is the pressure on him or is the pressure on everyone else around him? Because if he gets pissed off, he's just going to leave.
It's more the pressure on everyone around him and affecting him and their success. But, I mean, he's the catalyst.
He's the catalyst, and there's all the trade buzz now that's already starting to kick up. And maybe he is checked out, but he's a playoff guy, so we'll see. I'm really looking forward. We're going to talk about it later, but Magic Cavs, not a lot of people are looking forward to that, but like we're fired up. That's a great series.
Oh, it'd be a great series.
So D-Mitch, that's an interesting one. Cleveland is a whole, I don't really know what to expect with Cleveland. So D-Mitch, I like. So keep going. Keep going with some more guys.
Well, Kawhi, right? What's going to happen with the Clippers? Lots of pressure on them. So you could argue there's more pressure on Kawhi or Harden, because Harden really hasn't proven to be a big-time performer at all. So I think there's a decent amount of pressure on him. West, I didn't analyze too much. I mean,
I'll jump in. That's good.
Yeah, like I don't think there's a lot of pressure on Shea because he's been spectacular, but I think the expectation is that he's, a top 4 or 5 player in the league, and how is he going to play that, or is he going to play like that in the playoffs?
So you said Kawhi. I'm going to say no Kawhi. I'm going to say Harden here.
Okay.
I'm going to put the pressure all on Harden, and although he's a smaller role, like if he stinks up in the playoffs again, the Clippers are going to blow it up, and everyone's just going to point fingers at him. So Harden, I agree. Tatum and the Celtics, we'll talk about them like when we talk about the playoffs itself.
Yeah.
The amount of pressure that's on Tatum and the Celtics is immense because this is one of the best teams in basketball history. No, what are you talking? Look at all the advanced stuff. I'm sure.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
It's unbelievable how good this team is.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them later. But yeah, Tatum obviously, and look, he's still young. But this will be, I was kind of doing some reading and thinking, this will be his best chance at a title in his career. I'm not saying he has to win it this year, and I'm not saying...
Certainly the easiest path to the finals that he'll
easiest
ever
path,
have.
and this is the best team he'll ever have. Right? Like, this team is...
They're not going to get better.
He will not be on a better team for the next 8 years. And
right?
if you think...
Next year, Horford's going to take a drop down. Odds of Porzingis being so healthy the whole year, not so likely.
The competition is so
Holidays
weak.
drop down a little bit.
Lots of things are aligning for Boston. And
Yeah.
look, it's very possible the Celtics don't win this year, but then in 3 years they do. Yeah, that could happen.
Sure.
But this will be the single best team per all the advanced stats, and unless they have, like, this is whatever, the 6th best team of all time, unless they have the 4th best team, which I don't project. So I agree. Tatum and Celtics. I just wrote down every member of the Lakers organization. And I'll let you do a bit there, because I'm sure you have something. But
Well, I mean, the Lakers get so much attention, and yeah, they beat Pelicans, which I don't think would have happened if Zion didn't. Was it a hammy? Hammy as well.
that's a big fellow with a hammy.
And he's not playing, right? Like they've already said, he's out.
Yeah, he's out. He's out for the play-in and playoffs.
Zion ate LeBron and AD for lunch last night.
He looks so good. Yeah, and you know what? He probably ate a lot. He probably ate some pasta, maybe a little salad he mixed in.
I'm not gonna lie. I heard that on the pod this morning. I didn't watch 1 second of it.
I'm not sure what pod you're referring to, but that's...
Brian Windhorst.
Okay, yeah. Oh, Zion was great. Zion was so good.
Yeah.
And the hamstring thing really sucks.
Too bad.
So you said Ant-Man. No way Ant has pressure on him. So young.
So who in Minnesota has pressure on them?
I wrote down Gobert and Towns because one of them is getting shipped out if things go bad.
I agree with you. Yeah, I don't think there's high expectations on Gobert, but I there will be some expectation on Towns to play a team game. He hasn't really proven to be able to do that much.
No, and he's not going to the playoffs, and he's not really good since he's been back. So Gobert, Towns, they're not going to trade Gobert because they already gave up all that crap for him, but they're going to trade Towns because they haven't, that's just going to happen if things go bad.
Correct.
KD, I wrote down KD. I go back and forth on this because he's such a tough player to evaluate and look at legacy wise. What does he have a lot of pressure on him? Do you think?
I think he does because listen, Phoenix sold the farm to get the team that they have, and obviously they haven't gelled this year. They've had some injuries. Beal hasn't been anywhere near the player that they expected him to be.
Good as of late.
But listen, 2 weeks don't make a season. So we'll see. Grayson Allen, interesting. They signed him right before the playoffs. I'm assuming that they did that to show, hey, we are committed to you, and also to take a little bit of pressure off him. Like Klay Thompson, he's a free agent. He was 0 for 10 last night.
Are we going to talk about the Warriors game? Because that's sad.
I don't really want to. I feel bad for the Warriors.
Okay, we'll wait to talk about them later, but that's actually for real sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
Because if it's what I think it is, it's end of an era for basketball fans.
Curry's a top 7 player all time.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. Like by 7, you mean he is 7, right? Like you don't have him 6, you have him 7.
Yeah.
Okay. He's right in there. Yeah, he's 7 to 9 for me. I'd have to look at it again.
But we can do that in summer.
Okay, so that's a lot of guys with pressure. Do you have anyone else with pressure? That was a lot of guys, but I think we covered it. Okay. So
if you're not an NBA fan, just listen to that and absorb it, and then listen to our analysis, because then you'll become an NBA fan. Watch it. NBA playoffs are awesome. Players are so much more intense. It's a better game. Yeah. Regular season NBA, there's some dog nights. That's not the case in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs is good stuff, especially if the refs just don't call anything, because that benefits a lot of teams. You want to start with East, pick a series,
pick
and we'll
East. So what we're doing is we're making assumptions how we think the play-in tournament goes.
Yeah,
Is
we
it
can
play-in
kinda-
tournament, play-in games.
Playing tournament. We can kind of dance around the plan.
Sure, Boston is going to beat the crap out of Miami or potentially Chicago or Atlanta, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to beat the crap out of whoever that is. I don't think the zombie in Miami is coming back from the dead this year. They just haven't shown it. They had to fight. Boston had to fight through the first couple of rounds last year, and we think that hurt them. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake. Obviously, they got an unbelievable top six, but even their bench, Pritchard, Hauser, Cornette, they're playing well. What do I have? Actually, I have them in 5. I have Boston in 5 in the first round.
So, yeah, last year against a really, really bad Atlanta team, it took them 6, I think.
I think so, yeah.
So, Boston will either win in 5 or 6 this year. I'm just going to give Tatum a 4 for 17 game. The issue is with Boston. The issue is from a Boston hater. Tatum's going to go 4 for 17, and Boston's still going to win by 20 because they're so good. And that's going to happen a lot.
Sure, you'll win the first round and maybe even the second round. The thing is, the Achilles heel is what if they're not hitting threes? What if they're not hitting jump shots? Because obviously they're ranked as one of the best teams of all time, but they don't make it to the free throw line very much.
Because they don't attack very much. Yeah, that's the
that'll
issue.
be interesting.
Okay, so Celtics, I agree. Celtics 5 or 6.
Okay.
What's another one you have?
Knicks Sixers. This is a super interesting series, right? Because the Knicks are a really tough team to play against. Brunson's a beast. And so what's going to happen? Randall is injured. He's out. OG Anunoby is back. He's been good, but not great. He's a really good defensive player. Now they're going against Philly, which has lots of momentum. They've got Embiid. Tyrone Maxey is no?
Just call him Maxey. Tyrese.
Maxey.
We did this like 2 weeks ago, dude.
Who is it?
Tyrese
Maxey.
He's
Sorry.
like a top 30 player in the NBA. We got to get that one down, man.
He's probably top 15 player in the NBA. Anyway, they're going to beat the crap out of each other for 7 games. I believe they are the second and third best teams in the East. And I have the Sixers winning in 7.
Wow. Okay. I'll zoom in on that. So I just wrote down 2 question marks because I have no idea who they're going to play and how that's going to look. I really, really like watching the Knicks. They're a lot of fun to watch, and I look forward to watching them.
They try hard.
They try hard, but they're not ugly try hard, and they're strong. They move the ball well, and Brunson is incredibly likable. And without Randall,
how he continues to get his shot off, I don't know.
Yeah, he's 6'1", they list him at, maybe.
Oh, he's probably 5'11".
And I don't know. I don't know what they list him at, but like it's kind of crazy to just see him around. And if you look at all this is a little nerdy stuff, but like the shots made and the shots chart, he is like high ranking in all the low block 2 feet away zones, and it's him and a bunch of big guys.
Yep.
So I don't think the Knicks get first rounded, regardless of who they play. Philly, Miami, doesn't matter. I don't think
they play
the Knicks,
anybody else. I think they win, but
it's a tough.
As
draw.
I said, 2-3 in terms of the East.
Yeah, like there's such a huge question mark with Philly and what they're going to look like, or if Jimmy is able to just go psycho again and carry them through for a bit, who knows? But Knicks have Josh Hart, and he's Josh Hart, sorry. I call him Josh Fart because he injured Jimmy last year. I think the Knicks will win. I don't know who or against what, but like I'm in on the Knicks. I like them.
Yep, both teams I like.
Okay, so you have Bucks Pacers.
Bucks Pacers. How dinged up is Giannis? They've already said he's going to miss the game on Sunday, which probably implies he's going to miss the first 2 games. And I think Dame is going to shoot 37 times a game and score a bunch. The question is not how Milwaukee's going to do. Is Halliburton going to step up and play well? How good is Spicy P going to be? I think it's going to be a bit of an ugly series, but I think it's going to be competitive. It'd be fun to watch. That might be one of the things that we drive to. Just so we know, I have actually the Bucks in 6 for Coach Rob.
So I talked to I actually talked to a Milwaukee Bucks beat reporter, Coach Rob, and Coach Rob says he's so out on Milwaukee. That's what he says.
He is?
He says Pacers in 5 or 6.
Oh, well then I'm changing my pick.
So you got old man Dame, and then there's so many storylines here because you have Giannis, who lit up Indiana during the year, and this is when he scored 64.
Scored 6 points, but he was pissed off because they took the ball.
Averaged 42 a game on 68% from the field.
But Indiana was 3-1 or 4-1 maybe.
5-1. If you just let me finish the sentence, you actually could, right? See how that works?
I'm not great at that.
Yeah, I'm not either. So So I'm better. So Bucks are 5-1. This was all before Halliburton got injured, right? So they're going to hide Tyrese on Beasley and Pat Bev. Pat Bev now plays all the time. And then Nembhard, Canadian guy, is going to guard Dame, and he's a good defender.
He's a good defender.
So this will be interesting. The Pacers lit up Milwaukee with transition. That's how they really, really killed them. The new Doc Rivers regime, that's like been their main thing, like crack down on transition D. So this will be fun to see. Contrast of styles. Look, like I'm not in on Milwaukee. I agree. I think the Knicks are a bigger threat.
Listen, if Coach Rob is off, then I'm going to flip my pick around. We're going to go Pacers in 6.
And if Philly is healthy, like you said, Philly might be the third best team in the East, behind Boston, New York, healthy Philly.
Yep.
So I think I agree with you. I don't know if I'm in on Milwaukee here. I will be rooting for a 7-game series and a lot of fun. I like both these teams.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's kind of similar to Cavs Magic.
Go ahead. Yeah, what do you got?
Right? 2 young teams with lots of good pieces in place. I don't really trust either of them because they're not there yet. The Magic has a great core. Suggs is going to try and lock up Mitchell. That'll be fun to watch. Franz is a super fun player. He's a good player. He hasn't shot great this year, so it'll be interesting to see if he picks it up a little bit. Paulo Banchero is one of the least efficient offensive players in basketball.
Okay, he has a very tough role on this team. Like
I know he does, so it's going to be really interesting to see how he steps up and does in the playoffs. And because Cleveland, they're going to be either on it or they're not. They've got the pieces in place, but what happens? Is Garland going to be any good? Allen is Mobley going to decide just to mope and not do much? It's going to be really interesting.
Okay, there's a lot there.
I have Cavs in 7.
Most of that was made up. There's a lot of stuff that just was wrong.
Nope. Accurate.
How did Cleveland lose last year in the playoffs? Do you remember? I'm not trying to test you.
I think they lost in the first round to the Knicks. Got beat up by them.
They lost in 5 to the Knicks, and they're the favorite to win that series. And how did the Knicks win? The Knicks just outbodied them and out-physicaled them and really just bullied them. And I was there for Game 5 with Prince Wiz. And you saw it in person. The Cavs were just defeated and just moved by New York. Like Mitchell Robinson just do whatever he wanted. Orlando can do that to Cleveland. Orlando has the bodies and the toughness.
Oh, you know what? What's the big guy? Isaacs.
Well, there's one Isaac.
He's a good defensive player.
Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
been injured for a decade, but now he's 18 minutes of amazing defensive stats.
The Magic can really, really disrupt Cleveland. The issue is their offense gets really stagnant, and you talked about the inefficiency. It's Paulo taking tough shots. Is a lot of Orlando's offense. This is going to be ugly.
So who do you like?
I like Orlando. They're the underdog. I like Orlando.
6?
Yeah, call it 6 or 7. I didn't put that down. Orlando has the bodies to make it hard.
It's relevant. We're in a good series. Boston's going to beat the crap out of whoever comes out of that series.
Yeah, or it'll just go 7 and Boston will win, but it'll take 7 games just because Tatum. I will say, speaking of Boston, December 4th, I put $5 down on Boston to win it all at plus 375. So we're looking at a return of $24 here. I'm just riding that.
It's a good investment.
Just because Boston looks unstoppable. I just had to put that out there.
Okay.
That's the East. Do you have anything else to add?
Just keep rolling out. Boston's going to beat whomever wins Cavs Magic. Coach Rob is making me change. So then it's going to be the Pacers versus the Sixers. Sixers are going to roll, but then Boston's going to roll over Philly because Boston always rolls over Philly. Philly can't beat Boston.
Okay. I didn't really follow the verbal bracket. So
Boston's going to be in the finals. That's what you need to know.
Yeah.
Which isn't a stretch. Everybody picked them.
Super chalk, but there's really no clear number 2. Really is not. And at least in the West, you can make the case for a lot of teams, which is what I will do now.
Okay, let's hear about the West, Youngblood.
Okay. We'll talk about Nuggets-Lakers because this is probably going to get the most play here.
Oh, so much.
So this is a big-time rematch. 2 teams that verbally do not like each other. They've talked a lot. They do not like each other.
I don't know why.
Because the Lakers get all the attention, and last year Malone's whole thing during the playoffs was no one talks about us, no one cares about us.
That's right. Yeah.
And then Malone called himself the Lakers' daddy, I think at the parade. And then I just read some cryptic quote, I think from LeBron or AD. It might have been fake, but I think it was real. It was yeah, me and Anthony been talking. We're ready to go and get whatever. This is a big rematch. I'm really looking forward to this. Nuggets are going to win in 5, maybe 4. It's just going to be that type of series again. The Lakers win games by bullying teams and getting calls and getting to the line. This is not going to work against a team that's just as big, it's better coached, and they have the best player on the planet.
And they're just smart.
Yeah, and that goes with all that. So, Rui, AD, Braun, you're going to see those guys take turns on Jokic, probably in that order. Nobody's going to touch him. Nobody can stop him. Even when, there's a couple possessions where Rui, got a stop last year, and everyone's oh, look, it works. No, it didn't work. Over the course of a game, Jokic is going to figure you out. I just want to put out Peyton Watson. Peyton Watson's my guy.
Oh, yeah.
Defensive guy. Like, just watch the series. He's going to be electric. Okay? That's what I got. Nuggets in 5, maybe 4. Where are you? You agree?
Nuggets in 4.
I just gave the Lakers one pity ref game, but like
I know.
it could be a sweep. Timberwolves, Suns.
Super entertaining. That's going to be great to watch. Do you think we can petition the NBA to have the game start at 8 p.m.?
No.
Too bad.
I don't have a good read on this series at all. Like, I don't know where, like, usually the series, okay, I'm able to figure out. And, like, for example, last night, Pelicans-Lakers. Pelicans were like a 1-2 point favorite going into that game versus the Lakers. And I'm like, Pelicans are not playing good ball. The Lakers are hot. It's a what?
Ingram was benched. So's McCollum.
Yeah, they were. So I'm like, this doesn't look right. The Lakers should be favored. So I bet on the Lakers, right? Like, I don't have a good read on this game at all, or this series. Suns are hot. They finished 10-4 through like a really hard schedule. The Wolves, do you know like Wolves Suns regular season? Did you monitor that at all?
Did not.
So the Wolves are 0-3 versus Suns in the regular season.
Ooh.
Like that was their kryptonite. Even when like Timberwolves were awesome, they were beating everybody. They were still losing to Phoenix and by a lot. Like I don't have the numbers here, but they were never within single digits in the second half of any of those games. It was a blowout every game. Gobert's going to be challenged. Gobert's going to be brought out. Gobert's going to be challenged in this series, and it's going to be very funny to watch. Towns, fresh off injury, looked shaky. I don't like what's that going to look like. Who you going to put him on? They don't really have a spot for him.
No, they have no idea who he's going to guard.
That's what happens when you have two slow big men that can't play perimeter defense. One of them is going to look lost. I have the Wolves in 7, though. I just, like, I don't know.
Well, I think it'll be a good beat-em-up series, but I'm just going to go with Ant. I think he's the best player in the series, and somebody in Phoenix is going to get dinged up.
Yeah, I don't want to wish injury on anybody.
No, but even compromised.
Okay, or I don't want to wish compromisation on anybody.
It's a good word.
I'm rolling with Minnesota. They're the better team. Again, zero idea who's going to win this series. Like, this is really a toss-up, but I'm leaning Minnesota. Clippers, Mavericks.
Ooh.
Okay.
No idea.
Oh, really?
I mean, I think Dallas.
I'm all in on Dallas.
But, listen, obviously, the Clippers can say, hey, let's actually play smart and roll with it. Do you have an idea what the deal with Kawhi is?
Inflamed right knee.
Inflamed right knee. So he's going to play, but he'll be dinged up, or we don't know?
No one knows anything with Leonard these days, or ever, actually.
So I'm going to go with Dallas in 7.
So I wrote down Mavericks in 6. I'm very, very confident in the Mavericks.
They're playing well.
They're playing really well. The Clips have the bodies to put on Luka, theoretically, but, like, he torches them every single time. It's just like a repeat.
Listen, I don't think anybody has the bodies to really take out Luka. He just gets so many shots off his step-back 3. He's so big and strong. He gets open shots, and now he's got guys with him to help. I like Dallas.
In on Dallas.
I think it's going to be super entertaining, and LA's going to try hard, but I'm putting $10 on Dallas.
Okay. So last one is the Thunder versus whoever. Pelicans, Kings, you're looking at. Every person plays OKC on Fraud Watch if they were to play the Lakers. And I'm going to actually ask you this. So the Lakers had the option of throwing the play-in game to the Pelicans to then play winner of Kings Warriors and then potentially go on to get the 8 seed to play the Thunder in the first round. I want to know your thoughts on potentially throwing a play-in game for matchup stuff.
That's a terrible thing to do because the NBA, you don't want to have a one-game series because somebody like Dante DiVincenzo or whatever could just go 7 for 11 from three-point land and you just lose. So I think the Lakers had to win. You don't want to risk it, right? Because who would they play? Sacramento, and Murray goes off. What did Murray get? 34 points or something?
He scored that many? I fell asleep.
He scored a ton. So you don't want to put yourself in a position, if you maybe strategically drop from 2 to 3, I could see that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
But you're not going to be in that 7-8, potentially get knocked out. You can't play that game.
I agree. You can't play that game. It's going to happen if it stays as currently construction. Well, the plan, you're going to have a team throw game at some point because they're afraid of a certain team. It'll happen.
Yeah.
I like OKC a lot. I still think they're missing a piece. I still think they need to trade a series of first-round picks for Jimmy Butler. But OKC's going to win for sure here, like 5-6-ish.
Yep, I agree. Shea's still Kings. Awesome. J-Dubs are good. Chet's going to be solid. Lou Dort, the torture chamber. He's not fun to play against.
I want to see.
They got guys.
Yeah, well, that's why they're the 1 seed.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to see Thunder Pelicans. but I don't think really anyone else on earth wants that because like when you talk ratings, like that's going to do nothing. But Thunder Pelicans, that's going to be good ball. I hope that happens. But
it will.
If you get the Kings, do you think Pelicans beat Sacramento?
No, Zion's out.
Okay, so you think Sacramento wins?
Yeah.
So it won't happen. So it'll be Thunder.
No,
Kings.
I just think it would be entertaining if it did.
Okay, Thunder Kings, and you say what? 5, 6,
5.
7, 5. Okay.
Yeah, first round. Sacramento will be harder for them, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't like. I can see Sabonis just giving Chet the work and just bodying him out, physically him, and like I would look forward to that if that happens.
So they're bringing the other J Dub off the bench to try and body up Sabonis a little bit.
It'll mainly be Chet. 'Cause Chet's got the length, and Chet's a really, really good defender. But like he'll get moved sometimes. Like that's happened.
Sorry, Colin.
Yeah, sorry, Colin. I really like this. I'm looking forward, but like give me OKC. Give me OKC in 5 or 6 here.
Okay.
So that's every series. I don't know what else. Like who's coming out the West? Because you did that. I didn't do that.
Who's coming out of the West?
Yeah, that means who's going to win the West.
Boy, Denver.
So Denver, Boston, and then you have Boston in 6 or 7 over. Or do you have Denver again?
I have Denver again.
Really?
Yep.
So in what? What do you have?
7, hard, long, beat the crap out of each other. That's okay.
Okay, so you have Denver over Boston in 7.
Yeah, the longer it goes, the more pressure is put on Boston, and the 5 for 17.
5 for 17 Tatum. All right, Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Good job, playoffs. That's all I got.
I want to talk about the Tigers just for a couple minutes. We went to opening day. It's fun. Hope springs eternal. It's a great poem.
When's the last time you read that poem? Calling you out on that one. Sorry.
I read it last night just because I wrote it down.
So you wrote it down saying like, oh, I should read this poem.
No, because I put Hope Springs Eternal, but then I forgot. Like, I don't even remember who wrote it. It's a long poem. I couldn't read the whole thing. Anyway.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Okay.
fun atmosphere at opening day. Interesting fact, they opened Mom's Spaghetti, right? Which is Eminem's place, which is not far from Comerica. You didn't know this, but I went to Mom's Spaghetti after the game just to get a little bit of spaghetti. Guess who served me?
Not
Killian Hayes.
Okay.
Killian Hayes served me just because that's the only job he can find. That's good content.
Okay, I didn't understand. That's fine. I'll just keep going. I'll cut you off.
Anyway, the Tigers are not playing great. Listen, who's playing well? Scooby. Mize are pitching real good. Foley and Chafin out of the bullpen are beasts. Riley Green, Kana, not bad. Carp is a beast. Everybody else is playing poop. Please get hot torque. Come on. Parker at least finally hit a dinger today. Like, I'd just like to stay close to 500. Is that going to happen?
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I don't...
They're going to be 10 games under 500.
Why are we talking about this?
I don't know. I want them to be good, but they're just not there yet. They don't have enough offense.
The Lions made the NFC
consistency.
like the Lions made the NFC Championship. That's enough, for
So we got
years.
this year?
Yeah, the Pistons won 4. The Pistons were... Yeah, I'll let you... want to do that now?
Okay, so 14 games. That's a lot in the NFL. The Lions won 14 games when you include their 2 playoff wins. Lots of local buzz, tremendous national buzz. People want to play here. Great foundation for the future. One of the top 5 most talented teams in the NBA. People love all their picks, all their signings. They're like just have confidence in the Lions making good draft picks. That's awesome. Everybody's so pumped about the Lions. Let's match that with the Detroit Pistons, who won 14 games. They're the only team in NBA history to have the worst record back-to-back. They're going to have a top 5 pick. There's a dangerous word floating around about the Pistons. We talked about this last night. Is apathy. You're apathetic towards the Pistons.
Yeah, what one's that again? Apathy?
Apathy or apathetic.
Yeah, like could you define it for us?
Yeah, when you don't care. People don't pay attention.
Yeah, like I only have an X amount of time to watch sports, and I'm not going to dedicate it to watching a Pistons team that... Sometimes I will, but I'm not going to dedicate it as much as I would.
Amazingly, they still had the 15th best home attendance, which is shout out to the Detroit and Windsor fans for going to watch terrible basketball.
Shout out us, because I went to probably 12 games this year, and I think they lost every... I saw one win, I think. We really
saw it when they beat Chicago, the first home game of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are their building blocks? Cade, Asur, and Duran. That's it, right? And there's debated whether Asur and Duran are real building blocks.
Yeah, they have one building block, and he wants to be traded, right?
Oh, man. Mario from Monday Night Basketball has been talking for about 6 months. Look at the 2025 NBA mock draft, because 2024 is crap. Not going to get anybody. Cooper Flag. That's all. That's the deal. That's
awful. I'm tired of that. Like, I'm tired of the tank for another guy.
Me
like,
too.
No,
I
no,
want
like
some
I'm not
wins.
even gonna. Like, I'm not even gonna.
But I need something. I need some positivity. I need some hope.
Watch Lions vs. Rams highlights. That's what I do.
That's
like,
what I got to do. I got to do more. I got to remain stoic when it comes to the Pistons.
yeah, stoicism. Read up.
You've been sending me stuff. It's good.
Yeah.
I used it at work. It was very helpful.
Yeah, good. What else? I have another last thing. It's basketball though.
Go ahead.
So the Ringer has an article about championship odds, and it has this really complicated formula. Calculations are based on team strength as measured by point differential, historically strong predictor of future success with adjustments for individual wrinkles like injuries.
Okay.
Super complicated. Basically, each team has a percentage to win. All the playoffs team to win the finals.
Boston's got to be huge.
So do you want to guess the top five? Do you want to guess the numbers? What do you want to do?
I'm just going to guess top five. I won't be able to guess the numbers. I mean, Boston's going to be a huge, big number.
Okay,
they're going to be
them.
more than half.
More than so. Give me a rough idea what.
55%.
Okay, so you have Boston 1.
Yeah. Then I got Denver 2. Then I guess I probably have to go with. Ooh, this is super hard. OKC is going to be 3. Even though I don't love them, Milwaukee's probably 4. And 5 is going to be Minnesota. How did I do?
You did pretty good. You didn't do great. You said Timberwolves 5? Right? You said T-Wolves 5?
Yeah, that's the 5th one. I don't know.
Okay, so Boston is 1, 65% chance to win the championship.
Oh, that's huge.
When you just think about that and you're like, oh, is that high? I'm going to give you the next. So you said...
The next guy's probably 14 or something.
That's really good. It's 12.
Okay.
That's good. Not Denver. You had Denver 2. It's the Thunder. They have they have the Thunder at 12%.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's Boston 1 at 65%. OKC 2 at 12%. 3, you said OKC. It's actually Timberwolves. You said 5 at 8%.
Okay.
So 65, 12, 8. 4 is Denver. So Denver's lower than I thought. I thought Denver would be
So I even though they're not in the right order, I did get 4 of the...
You got 4 of the 5. You said Bucks. You said Bucks 4.
Yeah.
Bucks were not in the top 5. The Pacers were 5.
Okay, flaw.
At 2%.
Flawed.
At 2%. So you have 65. So when I talk about the Celtics being historically good, and people think I'm just making this up.
Except, there's no way the Pacers have the 5th best chance.
I didn't crunch the numbers. I'm just saying the numbers.
Okay.
Boston 65%. Second is OKC at 12%.
We need Joe Nunes to run those numbers.
He's one of the smartest guys.
He's one of the smartest guys I know.
Okay, what else do you have? Because I'm just going to call it there because you're referencing.
That's it. Basketball stuff. Watch. Be happy. Be good. Eat tacos.